comply with the school's hairstyle. That happened recently, just a few days ago, here in Port Harcourt. We're going to, if that, in your opinion, qualifies, and do you think that act as whatever crime committed, do you think shaving off a student's hair, boy or girl, should be banned? I remember I situated in my secondary school, really beautiful long hair, and you know how then, I don't know if it's still a thing now, would have chuku, these were some of the common then. So every week at the assembly, the style for the week for the ladies, for the girls is announced. So every girl has to go make that hairstyle. Should you choose to make your own hairstyle, some extreme case the center part hair because but that will happen on the 2:00 hour. Let's get the book about International Day of World's Indigenous People. I am Gabriella, welcoming you once again to there are an estimated 476 million indigenous peoples in the world that live across 90 countries, and they make up less than 5% of the world's population, but they also account for 15% of the rest. That's irrelevant figures right now for this conversation. Let's just move on. Now, there are overwhelmingly a majority of languages that people speak across the world, about 7,000 languages representing 5,000 across the globe. And these people are inheritors, practitioners of unique cultures, and ways of relating to people and the environment. This was what we used to be mode of communication. It's generally broader and it's more holistic if you want to look at that angle. But the key and the key is it's very important, and it plays the preservation and transmission of traditional ancestral environment, traditional medicine, food system, preservation of language, cultural heritage, mode of lifestyle, etc. The key for this conversation is the transmission of this traditional ancestral knowledge, as it were. Why do you speak the language that you speak today? It's because you were taught. Either your father or mother or your family relative or your guardian taught you the language, and the reason why they could, own parents had passed it down to them. But in the day and time that we live in right now, it seems to be quite a challenge with the idea of, globalization, westernization, everybody wanting to be posh and addressed to be learned. It seems as though we're beginning to lose the importance of our languages. So we're not going to really focus on the indigenous aspect of it, but let's actually take a look at the languages. Do you speak your indigenous language? I've got a guest. My resource person today is all the way from the digital team, just across the studio. He happens to be responsible for all our lives.
Yeah, of course.
I'm from
Abia State.
What do you speak?
Igbo and this Yoruba.
How did you pick that up?
Growing up, right? I grew up in Lagos. Long story
course.
short, Yoruba.
What? Okay. Hold up. How's that?
Languages really depending on where you're coming from. So yeah, back then we were also, you must learn when my mom would tell us to say, and we just going on like that, and just very our house.
So, in communication with your family, what village?
Most times I speak to my mom. I don't even speak Igbo.
So why do you think language is like a village thing? Because you're not the first person. That's not new to me. I've had conversations with people who say, "Oh, when I go to the village is when we speak the language." Yeah. Sadly, I can't even boast of that. At home or when we go to the village or English. So I'm one of those people who cannot speak their language. The best I can do is probably try to understand, but I can't speak because in our home then. Having the kind of parents that I did have, my mom was an academic, and my dad was still the kind of person that would want you to speak in English. He was that kind of person. You have to dot the I's and in your oral communication. So it was really hard for us to pick the language. Even when we traveled to the village, it was interesting that they would speak the language amongst themselves, but when they get to us children, they want to, no, drop it there, drop it. Okay, come. They're speaking English to you because they feel, these ones don't really follow. I don't get it. Now look at me, languageless. But I'd like for you to speak your language and just communicate to me your listening right now. What would you like to say to your fellow indigenous people?
That's a tough one, but okay, let's see. Hobble in me, right? See me adding, right?
What does that mean?
Like whatever. But ka inecheta your language.
Why are you speaking in one? You don't speak it well.
No, I'm trying. No, of course, it has to be. Communication is like a two-way thing, right? So you have to speak to me.
Okay, say it again.
Okay, so hobble in me, right? Balia kinecheta your language. All the very important. And over time. That is me adding the English story thing. But I'm not fluent, so over time iga huna all the impa na ina kwani asosibo or any associate
had gone for, I don't know what it was, a conference, some events outside of Nigeria. It was in another African country, and then there was this guy who was interviewing these Nigerian ladies, asking what the experience has been at this event they were at, and the lady went on to say how her experience has been great. And when she was done speaking, the interviewer then says, language Nigeria. And then she says Nakwana. Nakwana is Hausa way of saying good morning. Yeah. What does that mean in your language, good morning? He says, Nakwana to everybody in Nigeria, which was great. And then he goes again and says, okay, say something else in your language. Have you seen that video?
I have not.
And he says, say something else in your language. And she says something else in Hausa. I understand and I speak a little, right? 923 0002 323 or 0817 9009. Good afternoon. All right, do all to call back. You can send a message. WhatsApp number is 0809 069PH and on Twitter at NigeriaInfo PH. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Yes, I speak my languages. I have two languages that I speak.
Really?
Yes, my language.
That's amazing. Who speaks languages today?
Yes, I do. I speak two languages.
Do you speak this to your children?
Hello?
Do you speak these languages to children?
Yes, I do, but they don't speak fluently, and that's my worry.
They'll learn now. There's still time, Adi.
They will study in English, so I'm worried so much. I'm worried much about it.
Well, if you're teaching them, I guess they'll learn and get perfect at it. Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah, Mr. Zion, good afternoon.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Indeed, we are going through when it comes to intermarriage or where an Ijaw man will travel with state and live in with state. and speaking the Ijaw language becomes a constraint. Their children will lack in not to flow with any of the language, especially the one that is less predominant in that relationship. Now, how to save our language? Number one, we need to welcome our traditional cultural songs and dances. Find the privilege to put them on video. Our cultural songs, there's no songs like Andy German. We have the likes of legendary King Robert Ebizimo. We have the Parama. We have a lot of them upcoming now who are fluent in their Ijaw tongues. Well, the Ijaw is divided about 9 languages in the Ijaw dialect. But you look at your particular one, let your children to listen to these songs. Let them to dance to it. Buy the wrappers and the handkerchiefs. In your family, you can have a cultural day. It's every day, it's every week. Let them dance and listen to that song. Practice them to speak the languages. And whenever you want to travel, don't take them to Dubai anywhere. Take them to the village. Let them go and sit close to one elderly man and let them tell them some certain stories. Encourage them to ask that elderly man, who is my father? This is my father, Mr. Zion. Who is he? Tell them, all this will make a relationship for the children to be conscious of understanding their languages. And in their do we have all these pronunciation of characters and words in our dialects? I think this is what you also would still need to encourage. For instance, you want to ask them to give me the spoon. Can you use the Ijaw language? Even though you guys are going to speak the English, don't shuffle it. And this issue of, oh, don't speak our language.
Are you there? To call back. Thank you so much, regardless. Chooks was calling from Chuba. You all to call back as well. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on Facebook, by the way. You can join the conversation on Facebook. We're streaming live, 92.3, and on Twitter at NigeriaInfo. On Facebook, William says, I'm watching from here in Nasarawa State. I love this so much. God bless Nigeria Info. Thank you much, Richard. And Ogo Ojone Justice says, what has our indigenous languages done for us developmentally? Problem. Ogo Ojone, what a question. Hector Christopher Dokubo says, fathers should speak their languages to the... So while the fathers speak their language to their children, what do the mothers do? Donatus Monse says, language is the basic medium of communication. To enhance our indigenous languages, it should mandatorily be taught our pupils at the primary school level and also taught before education. Interesting. Thank you very much for sharing that with me. I've got Chibu is online. Good afternoon, Chibu. You're welcome.
Hello, Gabi. Good
afternoon.
Hello.
I can hear you, Chibu. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Yes, I just want to make a vision there. I speak a language I don't like calling, but then the guy you brought to the studio, the guy you brought to the studio, nothing but calling Gilibo.
What does that mean?
That is, he doesn't know Igbo. If he knows Igbo, he would have given us real Igbo, not you go in your wetlands and so come. That's what they call Ngilibo.
What does that mean?
He doesn't know Igbo at all.
And I know that, but I don't really know where you're coming from. Well, if you're looking for one, we need, I mean, what exactly you're saying? Jen on the line, calling from Eliozu. Good afternoon, Jason. You're welcome. Go ahead.
I sent some slacks for my business.
Can you talk to me?
No, don't worry.
Yes, thank you.
It starts with attitude. Canada don't have. I want us to there's no empathy to the children. We're living in a society where we borrow a lot, we copy a lot. Very young. One is 4 and one is 2. I teach them how to speak Igbo. I love Igbo language. They thought is English, but whenever they speak Igbo to them, and they are speaking both of them. And who says you can't speak both fluently? Who says that? In secondary school, the best
0306416. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes. All right, so we're going to have to call. Oscar is on the line from
And if I have a children now, how school should by putting some important needs, will be teaching maybe the half language day.
So that used to be a thing, language day, cultural day, a day where you get to cultivate, heritage, you get to make cold dish and delicacy. That used to be a thing, though, in secondary schools. Good afternoon, Prince. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just for this. Yeah, it is. Children are also important for them to learn. Talk about it early enough. It is a problem. Like, for example, my language, so most of the time when you talk to them, they won't really understand, but you have to keep saying it. And before you know, right now, they can't speak what I'm saying, but they understand. So almost every day, I have to agree with my wife that as we kids are small, this is what we're going to teach them. Talk to people and also speak. Most of the time she forgets, just keep reminding her. I think the thing is, and the point is that most of our relations outside the country, people speak the language more than us here. They move more than us in Nigeria. Because it's my uncles come back from the US and from England. You see them say that even me, sometimes this one keep from the beach. You understand? It's like, but most times we just, I think it's all about priority actually.
Prioritizing the importance of teaching someone who's 2-year-old. It's gonna be free. But when he had just started learning to speak, had just started learning to understand and articulate, language. So even before he even began to learn, give signals and all that, she used to from understand person. She would never speak English language. So always, why not wait for him to grow up first when he can speak and you can start to teach. Now, the same way he would speak language as growing. And I tell you right now, this boy is 2+ and understands his local dialect excellently, and that's because, the last caller just said, she obviously made it a priority, quite important to her, that her children understand their language. I lost job at making it happen. So it's not impossible. It really is not. And just like I was saying before, the previous caller had spoken, we used to have these things in our schools then. I wonder where that has gone. Cultural day, you come and do what are they called again? I can't remember. Call them. What do we call? Is it cultural dance? I think it's cultural dance, and you have to come dance and sing in your dialect. Where you're. If I were to ask some people right now, your traditional attire, where you're from, what do you wear? Many people may not really know what the attire is even called. Not to talk about how they even look like, and which is basically because we have become unified in everything. So now I'm trying so hard to avoid using the word westernization, but it just keeps coming up, right? And that's because it explains it the most. So people no longer understand what their language is. They don't understand their heritage. They don't know where their languages originated from. They don't know what their ancestors, where their ancestors originated from. They know nothing about where they're from, nor the language. We do right now to ensure that we're protecting our languages, so they don't. Let's comment down to less than 5 minutes on the clock. Celestine Laka says, parents often teachers the cheat in primary schools. Iwochuku Osita says, he says, I speak my language fluently. That's good. Happy for you. And Ola George says, Chief Emmanuel Ochen is doing a great job on the Leme poll. That's great to see. Let's go on. Join the conversation on WhatsApp 0809-030-6416. Ernest from Woji on WhatsApp says, we should also study local languages as we study international languages in school. The language we're using to communicate is someone of which it can never go extinct. That most of our locals in the dustbin of history. China is taking over the world, yet English is not their official language. I wonder why Africa is a language. This is a language identity. Women, if you happen to marry from another tribe, probably you bearing an English. Then if you can't speak the tongue, you're lost. Begagbo Cliff, send that in. And Esther Etim says, do you know that there are over 100 dialects in Nigeria? Whose dialect of a language is core and whose is not? Some comments are actually insulting. And say Igbo is not a word. It's not Mbidi. They're all in it. People literally don't understand each other. Not to talk of other Igbo speaking states. Ethic is not Bahumuno. It's not a school's responsibility, because whose dialect will leave and whose own will they enforce? Teach your children what. Thank you so much, Esther Etem, for that. We're going to wrap up on that note because we're really pressed for time. And I really was going to say that if we're going to, now, introduce languages to our school's curriculum, I mean, how many languages could we possibly? Do you know how many languages there are in Nigeria alone? It's gonna be a lot. It's literally gonna take over everything. So I think the responsibility comes back on the shoulders of the parents. At home, teach your children how to speak. I guess it's as simple as that. If we all learned how to speak our languages at home, it would make it easier passing it on from generation to generation, as opposed to speaking English. Yes, let this, like this lady I was referring to earlier, she would always say, when he gets to school, he would learn English. But as long as I'm concerned, he gets to learn our language first. And that's really is the crux of the matter. Your child can learn their English language when they get to school. It's important that we pass down our cultural and our indigenous heritage to the generations yet to come. I'm Gabriella. Trending stories at top of the hour in 2 minutes, and right after, further conversations here on the sunny side. Don't go away.